Welcome to this session on everything you need to know about page layouts and printing in Excel. Before we go into it, I would like to ask you a quick question. Have you ever finished an Excel report, clicked print, and suddenly, for instance, we do this, say Control P, okay, we can see from the print preview, right? Columns are cut off, tables split across pages, okay, you can see, right, how this table split across pages, headings will disappear, margins will look terrible, right? And everything looks unprofessional. Well, today I will show you everything you need to know about page layout and printing in Excel. So after this video, your report will look clean, your tables will fit perfectly, your headings will repeat properly, and you will print like a professional analyst. So let's begin. Okay, so the first thing is us understanding the page layout tab. Okay, so we click on the page layout tab. So Excel has a specific tab called the page layout that we've clicked in the ribbon here. So this tab controls how your worksheet appears printed. So inside the tab, we have the themes group here. We have the page setup group. We have scale to fit group. We have sheet options group as well as arrange group. So today we are going to focus on the most important part for printing. So let's begin with page orientation. Okay. So under page setup group, you can see the orientation, right? So we have the portrait orientation, which is vertical orientation. We also have the landscape, which is the horizontal orientation. So we can use portrait orientation for short table, while we use short tables and later style reports, while we use the landscape for wide tables, for dashboards, and financial statements. Okay, so this is a business tip for you. Most financial reports use landscape. For instance, if we were to use landscape here, you will see that at least we'll be able to accommodate a little bit. So we'll say Control P and we look at our print preview. You see that we basically accommodated more than what we would have accommodated in the portrait orientation. Okay, so let's go on. Okay, so after that, we will look at page size. Page size is also very important. So we can find that under page setup. We click the drop down on size. So we have letter, we have tabloid, we have legal, statement, and so on and so forth. Many page sizes. So now in Nigeria and most countries, A4 is the standard. Okay, A4 is the standard. So always confirm page size before printing. So if it's not set correctly, scaling will be distorted. Okay. So you can see, let us Control P and let me show you something. You can see when we change the page size from letter to A4, you can see we automatically added one more column in our print preview, right? It's now landscape and A4. You get that, right? Okay. So let us look at our margins. So the options in the margins here include what? Normal, wide, narrow, and we can basically set our custom margins by changing the numbers of the margins if we like. So you can see we already are in the normal margin. The wide margin will reduce the print area. So we have the narrow margin. So if you click on the narrow margin, you sure will have added one more, right? You'll have added one more column, right? So now on this paper, we have the size as A4, we have the orientation as landscape, then we have the margin set as narrow. Okay, so good to know that, right? Okay, so now you may be asking what is margin? So margin controls the white space around your page. You see when you print a document and the size of that white space around the print area left without the print in it is what the margin is. You can use narrow margins if your table is slightly too wide. That is right, okay? So in the custom margins, for instance, let me just show you how to use the custom margins. So if you click on the custom margins, you are going to see the top margin, and the header, right? You are going to see the left margin. So these are the margins we're talking about, the left, the right margins, then the bottom margins and the footer. Okay, so you can basically adjust that. When you do adjust that, you click on print preview to make sure that you can preview it and you are okay with it before going ahead. It's important because you may not know how adjusting the numbers will affect your page. Okay, so like we've been doing, so never print without previewing your work. So just like we've been doing, say Control P, you can see the print preview here. Okay, you can see the print preview here. Okay, very important so that you see how it will be when you print so you don't waste ink and paper. So let's look at scale to fit. Scale to fit is very powerful. Going back to page layout, you can see here in this scale to fit group, right? So you will see what width and height and then scale percentage. So this controls how Excel fits content on pages. Okay, so the first option here will be to fit all columns in one page. We want to fix all columns in one page. So we can basically set the width, okay? So we can leave it as automatic or we set it at one page for the width, okay? So let us preview this and we are going to see, okay? You see now that as we have put all the content in one page, we indeed have everything in one page, okay? If you make the width into 2 pages, what do you think will happen? Let's preview that. You are going to see it. So we have it now in 2 pages, right? You can see that in 2 pages. So it's important that you know how that works. So let's make it automatic and leave it there. So the same thing happens with the height, okay? The same thing what happens with the height. It's just the vertical and the horizontal change, okay? Now, we want to say scale to fit. Right now, it's at 100%. So if we reduce these to 95%, for instance, or 90%, for instance, you see in our print preview, we have everything we need scaled to our paper. So right now, what we have done in this paper that we can see is that we've selected the paper size A4, we've selected narrow margins, we've selected the page orientation, which is the landscape orientation, and we've scaled to 90%. So while scaling, be mindful, because if you overscale, let's say we want to scale it to 80%, yes, there'll be more space. However, look at it 80%. You see how shrinked the text looks? So if you scale too much, when you print, your text is going to be too tiny. So you want to make sure that you should at least be at 90 or 95%. Okay, that will be good, depending on the width of your table. Okay, so this table now will fit into one page. Okay, so now that we have done this now, another important thing we have to look at is to set the print area. So sometimes you don't want to print the entire sheet. So you can select your table, okay? So we select this table now. We want to set it to print just this and nothing more, okay? So we go to layout, page layout. Under the page layout group, we click on what? Print area, okay? We want to set what? Print area. So when we click on that, what happens is that this place we have highlighted will become our print area. You can see this sign, this mark around it, right? So that becomes our print area. So if we say Control P, now we have that area to be printed. We have set that as our print area. So if you want to clear a particular print area, still on page setup, you can just go to clear print area. You can see the lines are gone, right? So the difference here is this. If you set this to print in Excel now, for instance, what happens is that it continues to print. But when you set your print area, you are sure to just print that only area or the area that you set as print area alone, okay? So, so let's look at how to add page breaks, how to add page breaks. It's critical, okay? So we will go to our view tab, okay? This time on our view tab, right? Then you can see page break view here under workbook view, right? Let's do that. So you can see what we have set up during our page setup to be our page one. Okay, if we had others, you will see page one, page two, and so on and so forth. So this is what it looks like. Okay, so let's go back to normal view and back to page layout. So how do we repeat headings on every page? So this is very important for long tables, okay, where you have long tables and so on. So what we are going to do, let me expand this data set to make sure that we have a long set of data. I want to clear print area so that, let me demonstrate this. So you can see that in page one here, you can see in page one, you can see the column headings, right? But what happens when we go to page two? You don't see them anymore, right? And it's not easy to basically work on your data without that, without knowing what the columns headings are. It's not advisable. Okay, so what do we do now? How do we make this possible? So we go to page layouts. Okay, in page layouts group, you can see print titles. Okay, we click on print titles. Under these, you can see rows to repeat at the top, right? So we basically can enter the address of rows to repeat at the top. So this is the row to repeat at the top, all right? So you don't necessarily have to click this. Basically, we just click it so that you see what we're trying to do. So we want these rows to repeat at the top. Okay, so let's click on print preview and see now. You see, if we go to the next page, you see that repeats itself. Okay, so let's basically format it in a way that it becomes very clear. So let's do this. Okay, and make that white. Okay, so and bold as well. So on the print preview, you can see it now. If we go to all of the pages, we have that there. So this is a very helpful tip, right? It's very helpful. It's going to help you a lot to make your report stand out and your boss happy and you highly productive, okay? We also can repeat columns, okay? So let's go to page layout. On print titles, you can see here it's possible to repeat columns at the left, right? Okay, it's possible to repeat columns at the left. That is if you have need for static column labels at the left. So it's important. You just do that the same way we did repeat rows at the top. So you see this is under sheet. Make sure that is so. So another thing I want to show you is this. If we go to our preview, you'll see that there are no grid lines. It's not like a table. It's just like a stack of text, right? It's not like a table. So don't be deceived with the grid lines you see here in Excel, right? So if you don't add grid lines, you won't have these in your printouts. So what can you do, right? So you click on print titles, you can see grid lines, right? You click on grid lines. If you check grid lines, what happens when you print is that you now have it in grid lines. Okay, you can see that, right? You now have it in grid lines instead of that thing you just had as text stacks together. Okay. Also, I want to show you this black and white. What this black and white means is that you basically want your printing to be in black and white. So that is it. You want it to be in black and white. See what happens. Where we had color had gone out. Okay. So that's what that means. Okay. And you can get that from print titles. Okay. Draft quality makes the quality of print like kind of draft just this way. Okay. Just like you had it in draft earlier before we started making our adjustments. Okay, so that is very helpful, I believe. That has been helpful, right? So if you find this video helpful, please remember to subscribe. We want to make sure many people get to understand this. You don't know the number of people who are basically losing jobs because they don't know this. So please Be kind enough. Let us share love across or and around. Okay. All right. So you know that you can print to PDF. Yes, you can print to PDF. So when we say Control P to print, you can see that we can send this to a printer, right? But we can use the Microsoft Print to PDF. Okay. We can select this, and so this does what? Creates a what? This creates a professional PDF file. Okay. So we can call it, let's just call it table. We can call it table. Okay. You can see that that is done. Okay. So we can now go to where we save that to open it. Okay. So that is it. Another way is that you can easily just save your Excel as PDF. Okay. Once you have everything set up, that would be good. But it would be good to see your print preview. Then you can basically, okay, like this, you can basically take Control P. Then instead of selecting your different printers, you just pick Microsoft Print to PDF. Okay, it's going to save this as PDF. If you click on print, it's going to tell you, say now printing, then you can save your save it as a PDF file. You impute the title you want, then click on save, then that'll be all. Okay. So congratulations, you've learned something new. So most people only focus on formulas, but in real world, presentation really does matter. Okay. So if you can calculate and present professionally, you are ahead of 80% of Excel users, and this is the truth. So thank you for joining this class. Remember to subscribe. Let us build this community of love. Let us make sure we share love across, and we will always be blessed. So see ya.